Yo, I'm gonna change my eyeballs. Oh, actually, I don't know how weird these look. How's everybody doing tonight?
Excellent.
Looks like we
So
lost
happy.
one. You
Okay.
you are happy? What's going on?
I'm happy.
Yes,
Oh yeah, because we got Kenobi. That's what's going on.
Kenobi. Is it everything? Has everybody seen Kenobi?
Nope, not me.
Say Wong, you have not seen Kenobi?
No.
Okay, we're gonna have to save our talk or anything that we do for after. Well, we also have to see who is in the comments and who may not want the Kenobi comments. What is going on, Bell? Ian, thank you so much. Elisa, thank you. It is good to see you guys. It looks like we have some East Coasters there too.
Heck
Shit.
yeah.
Woohoo! So really quickly, I want to check in with Say Wong first. Say Wong is our guest here in the corner. What is he has a special report for us tonight. So in case he has other things to do or if connection goes bad or whatever, he can let us know. We get this out of the way. Say Wong, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. I'm in I'm in San Jose for Anime Con.
Woohoo! How was that? Today is what? Today's Friday.
Yeah, today's Friday.
Okay. So when did that all that wrap up? Let us know how was it? What
Well,
tell us what was good, what was cool.
it's still going. The convention is still going on.
Oh wow.
Close at 2. Gable
Oh,
Hall and everything closes at 2.
okay. Woohoo! And Raphael is at Celebration. Hello, Raphael. We should do a check in with. Should have Raphael check in with us too. We'll have people from all the cons checking in with us.
Seriously.
Raphael, if you want a link, just type in and let me know, and we will get you a link. But say Wong, tell us what was there? How long have you been there today?
Well, I was there since I've been at the convention since let's say 7:30 in the morning.
Ooh. And you're working as staff, or you came as a patron, or
I'm a staffer this year.
uh are you doing staff both? It's 2 days for FanimeCon, right? Or 3 days?
Fanime FanimeCon is 4? Thursday,
Four
Friday,
days.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe 5.
Holy
Possibly
goodness!
5. If you include day 0, it's 5.
What day zero?
Yeah.
Dude, these cons become lifestyles for people. Some of us have like jobs and stuff. We can't be going to cons like for a week. Yeah,
Wish I could for a week.
I know. How long did you go for, Aaron? For when you went to you went to WonderCon,
We went to MegaCon Orlando.
and how long was that?
I went for a day. It's a 4-day deal though.
4 day DLC. That's got to be pretty good for vendors, though.
Oh yeah. Plus
So,
the guests spread all out as well.
all right. So say Wong, what did you get to see any cool costumes or anything that really impressed you?
I saw quite a bit actually. There were several Disney costumes, Genshin Impact. This was mostly anime, manga,
Mm,
and of that nature. There's Marvel also.
right,
There's a
right, right,
Marvel
right.
guy.
Does it
Uh,
kind of differentiate? Because I've never been to Fanime myself. What makes Fanime? Is it more about the manga stuff, or is that kind of its niche? But then people also do because when you go to cons, people will dress in anything, even if it's not. They'll go to Transformer con dressed up as My Little Pony.
oh yeah, yeah. People, if you dress up as a Western character, no one's gonna judge you wrong here.
Right. You're at the con. So how come you were volunteering at this one? You go to a lot of different cons. Are there some that you like to volunteer at and some that you just go and hang out at?
Some actually, yeah. There are quite a few I've volunteered at. I would say, if anime, I've volunteered for at least since 2016. I've been volunteering.
Right.
It was volunteer staff, and
And
yeah. No, continue.
why do you do the volunteering? Like, I mean, as opposed to like, do you get a different experience like volunteering? Do you get to go like behind the scenes and see things other people don't get to do or see?
Yeah. Actually, yes. Yes,
Okay.
actually. Yeah.
Well, do tell.
Well, this year.
Are there naked celebrities hanging out with cocaine and hookers in the back, but then they're signing like, autographs for their favorite cartoon character voice they used to do in the front? Tell us more.
That's
I want
after
all the
10 p.m.
dirt.
This year, they implemented a new policy. In order to check your vaccine status, there is, I would say, the line just to get your vaccine status checked is about 2-3 hours. It looked like.
Oh my God!
And people have been posting pictures of the line too. So just to get this small blue wristband. Oh,
right.
Blue wristband.
That's craziness. So you got to come and hang out early and plan for that extra 3 or 4 hour wait just to get in the front door. And no, that's not even to get in the line to get in the door. That's to get in the line to prove that you can get in the front door.
Yeah, exactly.
That sucks.
So you got to stand in a line so you can get into a line? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Once you get the blue wristband, then you can buy your badge to get inside the building.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, then you can buy your badge. Then you have the privilege of doing that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, so you're volunteering there tomorrow as well?
Yes, I am. Oh, I'm
Yeah?
staff. I'm actually staff this year, so I will be there tomorrow.
Is that a different role than you've had before? Is that like a step up from volunteer? Like, do you get to hold keys now? Do you have any important keys, Say Wong? That's what I want to know.
Well, I do get a special badge, and I do get a special badge, and they will feed you. The con actually will feed you.
Oh, okay. Food is always a good incentive. That's how you get people to move shit from your house.
What do they feed you?
And beer. Always throw in the beer and you got him.
They feed you, oh God, junk food. Probably typical junk food. Pizza,
I'm sure hot dogs. Con food.
Non-alcohol pizza. Yeah.
Pop-Tarts and Gatorade.
What else?
Now get back on the floor and work. So what did you do today specifically? What jobs did you have to incur today?
I had to work the lost and found department.
Oh.
And con ops.
And con ops.
Yeah, they share the same department.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the same rooms, just different people.
Mm-hmm.
We just split the room in half. Okay, lost and found here, con ops is over there.
Dude, I'm sure there's a ton of lost and found at the end of a con, huh? People dropping crap left and right.
Oh, we've had a lot of stuff. We've actually got, I think, like 2 vaccine cards, a few health insurance cards, cell phones.
Oh, yep, there we go. Yep.
You name it.
Yeah. I was thinking like props and stuff that fell off people's costumes and stuff, and
Oh no.
or like a really nice blaster somebody forgot at the table.
No, not yet.
You're like, no, that shit never shows up in Lost and Found.
That stuff wouldn't make it to the Lost and Found.
Seriously.
So how are you feeling at the end of this day? It sounds like, I mean, it's 9:00 at night. You said you've been up since or you've been doing this since 7. So you've been grinding, boy. And Steve, I know, so Steve knows what that's like. They feed you real food, not snack food. But yeah, and maybe they treat you better on the East Coast. we're a dime a dozen out here on the West Coast.
That's terrible.
All right, guys. Let's see. Hey, say long. Do you want to be part of the discussion, or are you gonna bounce out? What are you gonna do, my friend?
I might have to.
Well, I am going to. I'm going to get this. I'm looking for all the banners and everything now. Here we go.
I might have to bounce.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming out and letting us know about FandomACon in San Jose. I might have to check that out, dude. I'm a sucker for good costumes.
Yeah, this year, before COVID, this convention was 24 hours a day.
Seriously, 24 hours.
Yeah, but after dark programming, gaming hall is 24 hours a day.
Jeez, that is craziness.
Yeah.
But they got a lot of good drugs out there in San Jose. I'm sure they can stay up for 5 days with 24-hour programming.
Yeah, you gotta go Richmond for that.
Oh, about that, they actually in the programming they put it bold lettering in the programming.
Right.
Be sure to get at least 6 hours of sleep, at least I think two meals and shower. Oh yes. Be sure to bathe, get 6 hours of sleep, and at least 2 meals.
Right. And don't forget the deodorant.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to con. Well, hey, man, we always... Did you drop out?
Oh.
I was going to say, we always love talking to you, Say Wong. We are going to get ready and get into our discussion, but I wanted to see how it was going out there at FandomACon. If anybody is interested, it's still going on. Tomorrow was what, Saturday and Sunday, right?
Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Saturday, Sunday, jeez. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Ian, me too, Ian. I need to get to the other side of con. I work the cons. I need to get to the enjoyment side of the con. I'm sure it's a whole different beast. All right, my buddy Say Wong. I'm going to drop you out. Thank you so much for your check-in from San Jose.
All right.
Peace. Have fun. Be safe, my friend.
See ya.
All right. That was kind of fun. Raphael, he is out at convention. Raphael, if you want a link, let me know, and we'll drop you in later and see what's going on out there. But for right now, we have other things to talk about. Oh, look at that sad little panda. Oh, just gaming away up there like it's like slave tied to a.
No, it looks like an angry panda.
That's an angry panda?
Looks like he just look at the eyeballs. He looks like he just lost a game.
Oh well, okay.
Looks like he's ready to throw the controller. Like a sad little Gen Z.
So even pandas are prone to violent outbursts if something goes wrong with the game, huh? Don't fuck with a panda.
Oh my gosh, man! Seriously,
they're not really known as the smartest of species as it is. So I don't know.
Yeah, no kidding. They're not the smartest species. Put two of them together for years and they never fuck. Sorry, had to go there.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, we got to earn our rating. So, video games and the negative effects. This has been a topic that's like this will this will never die, never ever go away. You know, people even I mean, as soon as video games became readily available, I think people have been making this argument about video games. What do you guys think?
Oh man, don't even get me started.
Well, that's why we're here, motherfucker. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
All right. So, as a child of the '80s and as a teenager of the '90s, Van, you and I, David, I mean, all three of us, we were there. We were there at the dawn.
Right.
You know, we weren't necessarily there for Pong.
Right.
I was.
Freak out of here.
We had a Pong. We had a Pong.
So here's one of my earliest memories of the whole video game thing. If it wasn't my mom giving me a hard time about, oh, that's all you do, that's all you think about, that's all you care about, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, blah. I specifically remember our local news station. It was Channel 6, which here is CBS. They had, parents had the news on one night. I think it was like 87, 88 maybe. And the report was about parents who were getting rid of their kids' Nintendos, their NESs,
right?
Because they were causing the kids to have bad grades. They were causing the kids to act out. They were causing addiction. They paid less attention to anything in life except for good old Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. And that was.
I think Duck Hunt would be the violent one. That's the one with the gun, right?
I know, right? And that was the thing. So, but that specific report, I remember my mom and my uncle were sitting on the porch, and they were just going on and on about how, oh, you see that? All these parents are throwing these Nintendos away, and we should do that to yours. And I'm like, no.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. But I don't know, man. I didn't act out because of video games. Video games did not cause me to lash out at the world or, a specific title, even later on, in Super Nintendo going into PlayStation 1. No specific title out there ever caused me to lash out, to act violently, to kick somebody in the teeth or pull a gun or a knife or anything like that. And believe me, look, I've seen the reports over the years. I can recall, kids being arrested and they're saying, oh, Halo 3 made me do it. Oh, Grand Theft Auto made me do it. Yeah, GTA made me do it. Rockstar Games wants me to be a criminal. I'm a 5-star hero. Shut up. No, GTA did not make you act out. Shut up. It's we still got another hour.
my whole I guess argument to it is like, are you telling me that violence didn't exist until video games did? If anything, I would think that our violent tendencies would be okay, because for me, and this may sound, I don't know if this sounds bad, or I feel like we all have these violent urges, right? We all get pissed off in the day. We all have that guy in traffic that we want to fucking punch in the throat, but you have to be a civil human being and not go to jail, so you don't. But you take it out in your video game and you just remember that guy on the freeway and you're like, fuck you, dude. And like sometimes I feel like there are ways to have outlets. For maybe some people, they like to do martial arts. So if they're angry and frustrated, they might, take it out on a bag or, get their anger and frustration out that way. But, everyone has their different coping mechanisms, right?
Steve makes a very good point
battles.
Wait, yeah, saber battles. Always, that is the solution to everything.
Grown men beating each other up with glow sticks. That's what you used to call it, right?
right. Ouchie glow sticks. What was the point that? Go ahead and read that off, Aaron.
Oh, okay. So Steve says the news gives a bad narrative on everything, and they try to force you to live how they want you to live. But that's what I have understood it to be. Depending upon the news outlet, it really look how things are reported. 9 times out of 10 are how things are going to be taken. Take the porch example. The news report comes on. Oh, your parents are throwing out Nintendos. Oh, they're throwing out Nintendos. They're going to affect your grades too. So to Steve's point, yeah, it's been honestly for the whole. I don't know, man. I feel like there was this whole. I feel like there's been this whole Karen movement against video games from the start.
Right.
And to be perfectly honest, and I don't want to be taken, 10 steps forward like what we'll be covering later, but if you want to talk about influential media, influential things on TV screens, video games were not the first. If you go back to some of the earliest, and I mean the earliest animation from Warner Brothers, even Disney, there were plenty of things on the screen that could cause, behavioral problems. I mean, some of the oldest Porky Pig cartoons had him smashing people with mallets.
Right.
In black and white cartoons.
Jesus Christ! You think about all the cartoons we grew up with in the 70s, with the Warner Brothers and with just Wile E. Coyote alone.
Yeah, the Dynamite, the nitroglycerin, chasing down the Roadrunner. I mean, all the crazy Acme products and crap that goes wrong. And yeah, it's funny, it's a cartoon, but I mean, there were people out there who do that stuff for real, and my gosh, that was far before video games.
And there's there's always going to be the new thing. Like I remember when the argument was against like Judas Priest albums, you know what I mean, and like kids committing suicide because of the music that they heard. There's always going to be, I think, somebody that wants to blame their shitty parenting for for some other outlet. I don't know. Maybe that's a little harsh or judgmental of me to say, but a lot of times I think this comes down to bad parenting. If the parents were more involved in the child's life and knew what was going on, maybe even had conversations with them once in a while.
It's not just the parenting though. I mean, it's also self-control. I mean, there's a big difference between a child playing a game and mimicking what they see in an innocent, sort of like pretend sort of way. Mm-hmm. Take me, for example. I'll tell you an embarrassing story. When I was 7, I guess, my grandparents got me my very first Nintendo. Okay. And one of my favorite games was Legend of Zelda. And, back in the late 80s, we didn't have social media. We didn't have phones and, we didn't have cell phones and nothing like that. I mean, hell, the Game Boy was still new. So what did we have? We had toys. And we played outside with our neighbors and friends. And hell, dude, I was Link. I was little Link. My parents would go to the flea market on Saturdays, and we would get like the plastic ninja weapons the kids would play with, and I had that, and I'd be out in the yard pretending I was Link, and I was killing the monsters out there. It was mimicking. Like, I would play the game when I was allowed to play, but then if I was outside playing, if I wasn't riding my bike or playing basketball or something, I was Link. I was in the yard and I was fighting monsters and I was saving the day. And I turned out fine. As I'm sitting here at 40 years old in the Jedi.
The fine. But that does get me to thinking about other things about, like, okay. So I was a preschool teacher. My background is in early childhood development. And one of the things that we talk about, and this is true of every animal in nature, right? Every animal that crawls in the jungle that gets, I will say, that gets parental guidance. Those animals, not animals like that are hatched and never see their family or whatever, but they, holy crap, my brain just took it. I just like totally detoured. What were you just talking about? You were just saying
playing games and then pretending I was the hero.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so thank you very much. Sometimes my brain just does that. Every animal on the planet, when they are playing like a cat or a tiger, they are actually learning instincts on how to grow up and how to be, right? So when these lions are pouncing on each other and they're biting on each other, they're also learning how to hunt as adults. They're building those muscles as well. And so when you think about, how we treat play as parents, what are the classic boy toys, right? They're always army toys or something involved fighting. Maybe you'll see a construction sets and things like
Yeah,
that.
the old Hess truck. Remember the Hess truck?
But yeah, but does that mean that we are training our, and if that's the case, why is it okay for me to give a 3-year-old a toy machine gun, even if it looks, orange and obviously isn't a machine gun? Why is that okay, but it's not okay to play in a video game?
That's
well,
a very
there's something to consider. I think there's something to consider with video games. Is it promotes isolation? If you spend, and it doesn't have to be just video games, but isolation in general, especially among kids who are developing, need to learn social skills, need to learn how to go and do other things. If all you do is sit there by yourself for several hours a day and you're relegated to your own impulses, if you have a predisposition for acting out in a certain way, that may very well exasperate the situation. Wouldn't you think?
It's so hard to say. I sometimes feel like I don't want to be the type of parent that I feel like I was raised by, because I feel like the information I got was not just bad, but was like horribly wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it is not out of, anyone setting you up or anything like that. It's just the way that the world changed that even our parents could never have anticipated. You know what I mean? There's no way they could have thought that the world would change and so quickly, so fast, that the pattern that worked for them doesn't work for us, right? So, when I was growing up, you were told, to go to high school, get your diploma, go to college, get your degree, go get your job, retire and die. That was your life mission and goal. But
don't forget marry and reproduce.
Right. That's the most. All of that was for that.
Mm-hmm.
But that world doesn't exist, and I think it's funny that all the things that we were told, just like Aaron was talking about what his mom used to scold him for or whatever, all the things that we were told that would rot our brains are how people are making millions of dollars now.
Millions.
I even think about like 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 when you used to do stupid things, like your friend would push you in the metal shopping carts or whatever, and you'd go as fast as you can or down a hill. Jackass made lifestyles out of that.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that everybody should go out there and destroy their bodies for some fame, but what I am saying is that we were told video games will rot your brain. Too much TV will rot your brain. Now all these influencers are or TikTok celebrities or YouTube celebrities are doing it through the medium that we were told would rot our brains. Okay,
Ian.
I've said my piece. That's all I have to say about that.
Rant over.
Anyone, Bueller?
I'm actually just trying to read this last comment here.
Yeah, someone. I don't have my good eyes right now, so if
I'll,
anyone
I'll,
wants
I'll
to
read
read it.
I'll read it out. I'll read it out loud. Video games use Video games use has gone from being fun as a kid to being an outlet as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily a bad thing in moderation, but when it takes priority over life and responsibility. But moderation is the key word here. Books, a walk, period, probably an example, right? I.e.,
I
the
typo.
park are are also a great option.
Oh, books, a walk.
Yeah.
Okay, and the park. Okay, so books, walking, and the park are also a great option. That's what he's got.
Gotcha. But personally, I use video games as a form of stress relief after getting my ass kicked in a restaurant. Like any good thing, it's something that can be abused.
Right.
Good insight there, Ian. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And, it makes me think of I used to really be into when I was in high school. I was into Greek mythology, and the Temple of Delphi. And the Temple of Delphi had two entrances, and above each of the entrances, one of them had the letter E, and nobody really determined what the letter E stood for. But the other one said all things in moderation. And I think that's true, whether it's whatever your indulgence is, whether it's video games or ice cream or drugs, whatever it is, as long as you're doing things in moderation. It's when people let the one thing take over their life, whatever that thing is. And you can't just say it's video games, because I feel like if that person has an addictive personality, if it wasn't video games, they would have became addicted to something else.
Mm-hmm.
Video games is just where they landed.
Yeah, I mean, I would dare say that there are even still such things as workaholics.
Right.
Take, for example, one of the directors that works where I work at. All he does is work.
Right,
Like,
right.
I don't even think there's a goal in mind. I think he's just sitting on money, and he just works like 7 days a week, extra hours, on call hours. And he just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and doesn't stop. And he loves it. I don't understand it, but he's a workaholic. Van, we lost you. Where did
He went over
go?
he went over to our messenger thread. Aubrey said she just got home.
Oh, okay. Good. I hope
He should be back in a second.
She said she has a lot to say.
We're the hosts now.
Oh my gosh. Am I hosting 2 shows now? Am I hosting Usual
That's
Suspects
crazy.
and this? That's not what I wanted to do. All right. So I'm just gonna run with it. So hey, I'll bring up something funny. Dave, have you seen any of those videos of some of those gaming rage moments?
Oh yeah, where someone gets pissed off and throws a controller at a $1,400 TV.
Yes.
I think that shit is ridiculous and hilarious all at the same time.
I reckon so. One of the latest ones. I'm so sorry, Van. I kind of just took the wheel.
Yeah, no, that's what I was hoping you guys would kind of figure out. Hey, he's not there. We should keep this going.
No,
yeah, I was trying to get some work done on the side. Well, that's the. Oh, by the way, I do. Before we go too much further, I want to give 100,000 big hugs to Marissa, our fabulous director, who puts all of these beautiful graphics together for us and make sure we can have a show to run. She's usually in the background watching the show, but she has family and stuff like that. This is her family night.
1.5 thumbs up.
Give it all you got there.
That's all I can give.
Steve,
I can give a couple of big toes too. I mean,
what is going on, Steve? We are talking.
You scared the hell out of me. You people. You want me to do all this crazy stuff? What's the matter?
Is he about to have a gaming rage moment?
I guess.
Don't throw the controller at the screen.
Yeah, I don't get that, dude. I don't know if it's just like entitlement or people think that oh, dad's gonna buy me a new controller or something, or I don't understand that at all.
Honestly, I think a lot of it comes. God, this subject has so many variables. Like the different behavior. I'm serious. All the different behaviors. Take for example. Okay, we're talking about the throwing the controller thing. Just recently. My son and I were watching a video of the Nintendo Switch Smash Brothers tournaments, and I swear, every time somebody loses, they take their controller and they just chuck that beast. And they have a complete meltdown. They turn to their opponent. Their opponent's like kind of like doing this number, like, and then the dude, like, he has a complete tantrum. And then looks at the competitor and is like, "Good game, bro." And then he stomps out of the room. I'm like, wow, really?
You realize all these Karens and all these little trauma queens and all these people with these fake mental disorders, when shit goes down, when the apocalypse comes, they are going to be the first ones eaten by zombies because they're not going to know what to do.
Well,
so at least have that much solace in your life.
They'll throw their controllers at them.
Hold on. I could tell you this. When I was in the military, okay, we're talking like 12, 13 years ago when I was in the military, I will put it to you this way. Yeah, granted, when people weren't doing nothing, they were on their time off. Yeah, they were playing video games. Yeah, they got mad. They threw their controllers. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I could see you playing with your kids when you have kids and doing that. Okay. And truthfully, it's funny as hell to watch these grown-ass kids play with video games while they're in their barracks doing nothing. And I'm just going like, and I'm in charge of these guys? Like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just the Asian in me, but I feel like, when because I knew that if I had a little goddamn tantrum and threw my controller and broke my controller, my mother was not buying me a new one. I was having to come out of my piggy bank if I want to throw a tantrum. I just got into the habit of not breaking my shit. That's kind of, it's kind of easy for me. Yeah.
And I think.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead. Go first.
As I said earlier before in the comments, when I was in the comments section, I still have Pong. I still have my Atari. I have my Nintendo. I still have my first PlayStation, which was the very first one and the second one. Other than that, I don't have any other games after that. Mm-hmm. I still have a Game Boy sitting somewhere in a box. Okay. And mind you, this is what I was told when I was a kid. If you break it, you are not getting another one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I'll tell you something now. If you had a tantrum back then, see, there was a thing called, you want to have a tantrum. Hold up. Go outside. You see that tree? Pick a long, good switch. You know what that meant? That meant your butt was getting beaten. Okay?
Yeah, so, you want to cry? I'll give you something to cry about.
Exactly. That was one of the other lines I used to hear. As a matter of fact,
I remember hearing that a few times myself.
As a matter of fact, I've said that to my two stepkids. And I said, listen, if you want something to cry about, I'll give you something to cry about. And then you can stand in the corner. You can think about all you want in the corner. You can cry to the corner all you want because the corner ain't going to give a damn as to what you got to say. All right? And then, of course, you heard people say, I'll go call Diapers. Well, look, how about I kick you in the ass real hard? You go crawl over to the Diapers and cry to them that you got your ass beaten for it, and I'll sit here and laugh at you. And then if Diapers comes over, I'll tell them, hey, you're not the parent. You're not the one that's raising these kids. You're not the one that's paying for anything. Get the hell out of here. I don't care who the hell you are. And I've dealt with Diapers before.
Right. Well, I'm gonna get us back onto gaming and away from. I'm
just saying it was part of
back to gaming, away from child abuse.
Yeah. It tends to dampen the show a bit.
It wasn't child abuse. Trust me, it wasn't.
I'm on your level there, brother. It's all good.
I was there. I lived through it.
Dave, let me ask you: Do you game with your kid? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, do you game with your kid?
No, I don't. I don't have a game system.
Okay.
He's got his tablet, and all the games he likes to play are on it. I had an Xbox, but the last time I moved, it disappeared, and I haven't decided that hey, I want to go drop not $1,000, but I don't feel like dropping $500 for a system that.
Right. Okay. I guess the bigger thing was it was more to get at parental thoughts about violent video games, or what you would allow your son to play, or wouldn't allow him to play.
Well, as far as violent video games, I think he's at this stage. He's 9 years old right now. I think at this stage, he's still a little young to like get into the GTA games or anything like that. There's a couple of games on his tablet that he does like to play. There's a sniper game he really likes. I'm okay with him playing that. Um, he does get into Minecraft, and not Minecraft, but Roblox. I'm really surprised at how many different Roblox games there are that actually have violence in them. I was really surprised.
Right.
And he did get in trouble a couple times at school because he was started to act out. One of the boxing ones, I had to remove that for a while.
Wow. Aaron says, I can actually see this right now. I'm not a parent, but I think video games are fine. What's important is teaching a kid what the difference between is right and wrong. Differences between right and wrong. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It goes back to your comment about the parenting.
Right.
Honestly, the parent's going to set, the stage of what is right, and what is wrong in the household. It is ultimately, as dads, it's our responsibility. In conjunction with our wives. Yeah, I mean, it's something I've done with my son since the beginning. He's 16 now, and he's done fine. I mean, he doesn't act out from games. He loves his games. He loves everything about him. He wants to write programming and make games and all this stuff. And
right.
I mean, I'm perfectly fine with it because it doesn't get in the way. I mean, gaming nowadays is a lucrative thing. And what I enjoy about it is the fact that he's not trying to get into it what I believe to be the wrong way, trying to throw a controller at a screen and get 1 million follows on YouTube so that YouTube will send him a check for $100,000.
Right. The idiots, the idiot TikTokers.
All the angry Joes of the world,
Right.
Oh, I hate this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's like my son is 13. He's a 4.0 student or whatever, and he plays some crazy violent shit. You know what I mean? Like some of the stuff I'm like, God, like one of the games I like to watch, was it called Dead by Dawn or something like that, or
Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight. Yeah. Oh my God, dude, that's like watching a horror movie. But he's still doing well in school, and he's polite out in public where he needs to be. So I don't think I don't see it as any different than anything I did when I was a kid. Maybe it's a little more realistic looking now than it was when we had 64-bit gaming systems.
16. I had 8 and 16.
Right.
And I'll bet 99 out of 100 times that's the norm. The one kid who does go nuts on games, it's not the game itself that is causing him, I think, to go nuts on it. It's the fact that child probably already has some kind of issue, and that impulsivity takes over, and then they start acting out in a way that they are familiar with, and what they're familiar with is the things that they've probably been playing.
Right. And there might be, if the fact that they're playing games so much or that game, so maybe there's some neglect going on in the house or something. I'm not saying every kid that's a heavy gamer is being neglected or anything, but you don't know what kind of factors are affecting different people.
But something, a lot of these, it always takes one. Always takes one. Okay, you get one Sue Happy Karen mom who's going to just be like, I'm going to sue this company because my son acted out and my son's perfect and my son would never act like this without this game. And then the game then has to put like 10,000 disclaimers up and then make you agree and sign at the bottom stating that, if your son dies from a seizure, it's not the game creator's fault.
Exactly.
I mean, that's like way overstepping my bounds there, but you know what I mean. I mean, there's just so many steps. There's so many steps that corporations have taken nowadays. The minority always speaks the loudest. They scream the loudest from the highest rooftop, and it's just,
The
what do we
rules of
do? Like,
society are dictated and changed by that minority.
if a game sells 27,000 copies, okay, and one person experiences something bad from it, the company has to protect itself from that one person and not the other 26,999 people who are just enjoying the game responsibly. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a sad situation, but it's
I think
echoes.
that's kind of life in America. Like,
Okay, yeah,
one of the things that I have to worry about now that it's a little bit different for say you and I, right? So you sell fonts, right?
sure.
Nobody can hurt anybody with the font, but I worry about the day that somebody tries to like sue me as a storefront because I sold them this irresponsible weapon as a toy or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
I got a story for you on that one.
I hope you don't.
No, it's relatively funny. Toys R Us.
Well, we don't want that relative shit around here. We want the good shit. If you ain't got the good shit, get to hitting the road, bub.
It's good. It's a good story though. Toys R Us, when they were open, when they first came out with the lightsabers, the Hasbro ones, that you find like the Kylo Ren ones or what have you.
Right.
Now this happened here, in my local area. Some Karen got mad because their kid wanted to play with the lightsaber, played with another kid. They both beat the crap out of each other, and they both broke their lightsabers. They came back to Toys R Us, the Karens, mind you. They came back screaming and crying about the lightsabers being broken and how they were going to sue Toys R Us because their kids broke a lightsaber that had nothing to do with Toys R Us. And Toys R Us is going like, well, wait a second. Once you paid for it and left my store, you as the parent is now responsible to keep an eye on your kids. You can't sue us. And when they tried suing, even the court said, yeah, no, Toys R Us is right. Once you pay for it, you leave. Now you're the responsibility, not the store. So at that point, as a storefront that you are, not for nothing, that could be your disclaimer, because technically once someone leaves your store and something happens and it's outside the store and it has nothing to do with you per se, guess what? They need to be the responsible party, and they need to realize what they're getting themselves into when they're playing with this stuff. So, it's like, for instance, if I took this lightsaber right here, okay, and something happened to it, I'm going to get mad, come back and start screaming at you, which isn't going to be right, because then who's actually responsible, me or the store? It's going to be me.
Sounds like you've never heard of this country called America. Welcome to it, bub.
So in a nutshell, what we're taking from this is you should be held accountable for your own actions, correct?
Bingo.
Can we all agree on that?
Well, I think so.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we all agree on that for a minute, because I'm going to use that on our next topic.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, why do I feel like this is a setup?
It's accountability hour.
Oh yeah. All right, just saying.
Moving on. Pitch is back, Van.
Continue.
What was that, Aaron?
The high pitch is back.
Huh? What? Somebody check your microphone.
Keep it going. We got about 10 more minutes on video games.
Oh, that's you, Van.
Yeah, hold on.
10 more minutes on video games? That sounds like something I've said to my kid, and then an hour later.
Yeah, right.
It's nuts. No, and I think Aubrey's supposed to join us here.
10 more minutes. Okay, yeah, 10 more minutes. 5 more minutes. Okay, yeah. All right, it's time to go brush your teeth. Can I have 10 more minutes?
No.
Here we go.
Half an hour later.
Yeah, we got a flashbang Harrison.
So yeah.
And that's just a tablet. God forbid I actually get him an Xbox One or a PS5.
So I guess to more or less on my end wrap things up. Yeah, honestly, I think there's too many variables when it comes to video games. If in terms of children, okay, should kids be allowed to play games? Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I think anything can be taken with responsibility. Responsibility being the key word. You have to teach responsibility to the children. There have to be boundaries that are set. We also have to understand that, there are always going to be those people who are going to believe that a particular game or a game's content or a game's following or people who play the games are always going to be at fault, for bringing harm to somebody's kid. Honestly, it's just being smart with the media. It's being smart with the content. It's no different than, in the earlier days when cartoons were on Saturday morning and no high pitch, we're good.
Come back.
People allowed their kids to watch violent cartoons. It ultimately is the responsibility of, the parent to make sure that the content is appropriate for the household. Now, let's quickly touch on, by the way, Ian and Harrison are our usual suspects, and they're freaking amazing guys. And I love that they're here, and I love those guys. They're like my brothers. Ian is an incredible voice actor, by the way, and Harry is an incredible font maker. So shameless plug. And Isaac is here. So back to the responsibility thing, and even as adults, okay, if we're going to continue to play games as adults, I myself am going to play games as an adult. I play my Marvel Strike Force and my Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I've got my PS5 I play on. Dude, I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna be on this show. I'm gonna pay attention to other things besides just video games all the time. I'm gonna have fun with my stuff, but it's not gonna be my life. If it's my life, then I'm missing out. And I think, to the negative effect point, addiction can be a negative effect. Exposing a child who's not mature, ready in a mature fashion to see and take part in inappropriate content, being, be it of a sexual nature or of a very violent nature, or even a dramatic nature. BK Saber Sounds is here. Good Lord, everybody's in here tonight. What's up, BK? Yeah, it comes back to responsibility, making sure that the kids are, protected where they need to be protected, and as adults, we're making sure that we are taking part reasonably, responsibly, and having a healthy balance, I guess.
Right.
You have to forgive me. My vocabulary is terrible after 10 p.m.
Like me.
So, but yeah, that's it from me. Rant over.
When things, I remember, to date myself a bit, I was graduating from high school when Mortal Kombat was like, well, that was probably my junior year to my junior year in high school to probably about my freshman year in college, when Mortal Kombat was really hot, and parents were going crazy because of the
finish him.
Right, and like, oh my god, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's so funny looking back at it now, how cheesy it is, and like, how graphic Mortal Kombat 10 is. You know what I mean? Even though it's animated, it's far more graphic than the cheesy animations they had back in the day.
Which was just stop motion photography.
Right.
Matter of fact, one of my friends used to work on Mortal Kombat, and he was one of the actors for that when they were doing, the martial arts poses and stuff like that. He was actually one of the characters in that, and I believe it was Ken that he played the part of.
It was who?
Ken.
Wasn't Ken Street Fighter?
Oh,
Yeah, Ken was Street Fighter.
I know he was in a couple of the video games, but I believe it was Mortal Kombat. I don't know if it was it was the blonde-headed guy that was in Mortal Kombat. I forget his name, whether it was Ken or Ryu or some weird name like that.
Yeah, it's Street Fighter.
Was it?
Yeah, Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ken and Ryu were Street Fighter.
But I know there was somebody in Mortal Kombat that had blonde hair.
Blonde hair.
They had a character that had blonde hair.
Thanks, BK. Probably Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage. Those were $500 sunglasses.
There you go.
So yeah, Van, I think we just hit the hour mark.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, I have 56 on my side. That's all right.
54 on my end.
It made me thinking about the actors from Mortal Kombat. Everybody's going through their mental Rolodex. All right, so we are going to do a bit of change. I'm going to put David on the screen here. He's a good one to get this party started over here, right? So we're going to be talking a little bit, and it's kind of interesting. I kind of wanted to make a comment about our next topic. Is everybody's favorite topic guns? Yeehaw!
Guns.
We love us some guns in America. Somebody made a comment. Has everybody here seen Kenobi?
Yes.
Everybody, yeah. Okay, I think it was just Say Wong that didn't, right? Steve, did you see Kenobi?
Dude, I commented on your thing last night. You loved it this morning.
Yeah, okay.
Come on.
I can't even remember what I did an hour ago. You expect me to remember a comment from this morning? All right. So it was Say Wong that hadn't seen it. So for spoiler alert for those that have not seen Kenobi, I'm gonna ask you to cut out the next 2 minutes of this and just kind of skip ahead 2 minutes.
You're saying 2 minutes? Count on it being 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about Kenobi here.
Well, supposedly there was a bunch of people online that were triggered by the very opening scenes of Kenobi, in light of what happened in our country in Texas here a couple of days ago, being that it was Order 66. The opening scene of Kenobi opens up on Order 66, and then we had the school shooting here just recently. So they were saying that it was triggering to see this without some kind of a warning that they were going to have this, but there's no way when they were filming this that they could have known that this would occur. But anyways, that was my little piece. That was okay. Now you can come back in. Not that you would know.
Oh no, that's actually a good point of bringing that up, because I think that if they're going to confuse a movie or a TV series that had no clue about that, I'm sorry, they need to take that into account. Sorry, but right. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry. I know Dave's about to throw at me.
Sure, I agree. Come on, if we're talking about Star Wars, and considering that basically the main character of Star Wars through and through is Darth Vader, right. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's everybody.
Well, okay, but the biggest focal point. Okay, it's debatable, but from my point of view, so. I mean, the biggest focal point being Darth Vader and his turn to the dark side. A large part of that is the fact that he went and slaughtered a bunch of kids.
Right.
Well, you're not going to start Kenobi. I mean, I'm glad they started with Order 66. It really gave some depth to when you see Kenobi right off the bat. You see that PTSD on him.
Right.
Clearly.
Right. The 1,000-yard stare.
Oh, I think he takes it a little further than that, man.
No, that's beyond. Yeah, it's beyond the 10,000 yard stare.
Right.
Yeah, it's the 10,000 light year stare.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Oh my
So,
God! I can't believe it happened that long ago.
so what are your thoughts, David? This was you were kind of the ringleader on this one. What are
Well,
your thoughts, or what are your?
okay, so if we're going to engage in the topic of guns, I'm just going to start off by saying I am a firm believer in the Second Amendment. Um, the right to bear arms shall not be infringed,
Correct.
and and I stand by that. I think that, don't get me wrong, a lot of the people that I hear from the left go, "Oh well, if you believe in that, then that means that you're okay with school shootings." No, of course, any kind of mass killing, massacre of any kind, especially that of children, is diabolical. It's horrendous. It's about the worst possible thing somebody could ever do.
Right.
Quite frankly, if they don't kill themselves or get shot in the process, I think they should be dragged around the building and shot on site.
Sure.
Personally,
Right.
But when we're having the discussion of guns, a big thing is, well, we have to do something. We need to stand up and do something. Well, okay. What do you propose? What do you propose we do? What are your thoughts on what we can do to stop an evil act from being committed? And usually it's more gun laws. Well, gun laws don't really work. If
No.
gun laws worked, then Chicago and Washington D.C. should be the two safest cities in the United States.
Don't forget Newark, New Jersey,
and Miami.
Oakland, California.
There you go.
Okay?
Right.
They should be the safest places on earth because they have the absolute strictest gun laws in the United States.
Exactly.
Now,
But what do you say to, like, okay, personally, I and I'm not against guns at all. What I personally am against are, high velocity guns like AR-15. You look at most of these
uh,
mass shootings that we've had; they've been with the same exact gun.
Okay.
it's a popular gun and it's very effective. But say, okay, so if we're talking about, okay, so the big thing that they would like to be able to do, and when I say they, I'm talking about the left side of the aisle. Um, they want to do widespread gun confiscation. That is never going to happen. So let's just take that off the table. That is absolutely out of the question. It will not occur.
They tried that in the 1920s, and that didn't happen.
Well, in this country, there's roughly,
but
for every gun owner there's roughly, every gun owner has an average of 8 gun. That scares the crap out of me. First off, that's an arsenal. And
well, then,
whatever,
hey,
to me,
then look at the numbers involved there. So that many guns, the amount of mass killings, when you start looking at the actual numbers, are extraordinarily rare and small in number. Doesn't take away from the fact that they are absolutely horrifying. Um, yeah, I mean, it doesn't take that away from that as being the case. It's truly an evil, I keep, okay,
Despicable?
I'm starting to break despicable
you have
act.
a lot of emotions.
I am, but trying to say that, oh well, we should just make it to where these guns can't be bought. That's not going to change the violence. It won't. Somebody who's that intent on killing people will find a way to do it. In fact, do you know what the worst case of a school massacre in the United States was? It was the Bath school massacre. It happened in 1927. 38 children were murdered, 6 adults, and 58 other people injured, and not a single gun was used. It was done with explosives.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So if you want to talk about what can actually mitigate mass casualties in a more effective level, how about we talk about things that we can do right now that would actually be effective?
I got
like I got several.
No, but I
I
do
think
have one that's relevant to our timeline currently. And
okay, go. What do you got?
All right, Timothy McVeigh, when he did what he did, that was in I forget what state it was in, where
Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma, when he blew up the federal building.
Oh, hi Aubrey, didn't see you.
Hi guys,
Hey.
I'm here.
Hello, Aubrey. Thank
We
you
all
for
noticed
jumping
she
in.
popped in.
It's hot in this room.
But no, Oklahoma, the Oklahoma situation that had a daycare in it. Now, how many kids were killed in that? How many adults were killed in that? How many other adults or other people were injured because of that? With because of what Timothy McVeigh did.
I believe it was 150. I believe.
Okay.
It was quite a bit. It was a
It was
lot.
like 70 children and something like that, right?
Yeah. Right. Now let's look at it this way, okay?
Hey,
Now, as you mentioned before, that the thing that happened with the Bath school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this also equals to where you don't need a gun to go do a mass killing, okay? So bombs are just as equally as just worse. I'm also gonna break in on this with David on the conjunction. You can be a law-abiding citizen. You can own weapons all you want, but here's the problem. A criminal could easily just go to the street and get a gun or get whatever they want, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an AR-15. It could be an AK-47. It could be any kind of an assault weapon, whether it be a Uzi, a MAC-10, a Tech-9, what have you. All right. Yes, I know my weapons. But regardless of the fact, you could easily, as a person, don't have to go to a gun store. You can just go to the street, go buy a gun off some gang member or some person that's not a pillar of the community, so to speak, and you can go do just the same amount of damage down the street as you'd see at the what's in the news right now.
Not to mention, there's more violence being perpetrated each year by handguns over AR-15s and shotguns, for that matter, too.
Where do you think those guns are coming from?
Yeah, where do you think these illegal gun sales are happening? Usually, they happen after they buy them at the gun store.
Here's the thing that
that's why background checks are important.
Background checks are important. They're also a law, and doesn't matter where you are, you still have to get a background check. This kid in Texas bought 2 guns with passing a background check.
Right. Because you know why? He probably didn't have a criminal background.
He did not have a criminal record. But the other thing is, with some of these red flag laws, people need to take them seriously. This kid had been for years posting all sorts of really crazy shit.
Exactly.
Right.
He was posting pictures of how he cut his face on purpose just because he wanted to do it. He posted on Facebook that he had just shot his grandmother prior to going to the school.
I definitely think we don't take mental health as seriously enough.
If we can sign a bill for $40 billion to give to Ukraine, fuck that. Why don't we just use some of that domestically and put that towards mental health care?
I agree. Because mental health is a really big problem. I do agree that is one of the things that people don't look at when they look at people having gun laws. They don't look at it enough to assess people's mental state of mind, or even putting any of that into a factor. I'm late to the party, so I'm trying to play catch up a little bit on what's going on. So you have to deal with me. And of course, my cat just wants to get in on this because he just wants to be.
So one of the things that
this is my cat, I gotta say.
Van, turn your gain up a little bit.
So.
If you got a black cat, I got a black cat right here too.
The black cat party. He always does it whenever I get on stream. That's what he does. But yeah, I think a huge thing that people are not factoring in with gun violence, especially school violence, is what is the causes of school gun violence. And a lot of
people. That's the cause of school violence.
Bullying.
Evil people.
True.
Bullying.
Bullying is
maybe to some extent.
No, to a lot of extent. There's actually a lot of research. This is what I did my senior dissertation. I did a research paper. I was a college level research paper on this, and it actually is about. Thank you, Ike. Thank you for spelling my name correctly. It's okay. I get it spelled wrong all the time. It's fine. So, but what I was saying was is that bullying they have found is the root cause of over at least 80% of school violences has to do with bullying. And a lot of times the people that bring the guns to school are the ones that are generally the ones bullied, not the perpetrators of bullying themselves. Sometimes, but not always. That's why they say about 80%. Sometimes these are the bullies. Again, those numbers could have been varied by the time, since I did that paper, but it is definitely a huge factor, bullying in schools, because they do not get, there's not intervention and there's not help with it. It becomes a huge issue, and this is why guns get brought to school and violence happens.
Here's what it is also, because you got to remember one thing. All right now it's a big issue, okay, with what they got on all across all media. Now, give it about 10 days from now, 20 days from now, it's going to be forgotten about and swept under the mattress until another situation happens. Well, so with that being said, personally, coming from my experience as a firefighter or EMT, we get calls to going to schools because of medical emergencies or what have you. Now, mind you, I'm a volunteer, but I still go to these emergencies that happen. And when they do call for the fire department, we also run EMS. Right. So we have to go out and deal with whatever it is. Sometimes we don't even know if we're walking into a gunfight.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for what you do, by the way. Thank you for volunteering. It's a big service.
I'm happy to do this. You have no idea. But
somebody needs to do it.
Though, I mean, seriously, when you walk into a situation, you really don't know what you're getting into. We've been to situations where there's been fights in a school which end up being like a mini riot, and we're just like kind of looking at each other like, should we just hit them with the CO2 bottle and knock them the hell out, and then deal with them later and knock half these kids out if we have to, or what, whatever. I mean, there was a situation where this was some years ago. There was a mini riot that broke out at a middle school, and one of our officers had an idea with the engine, because it was both the engine and the ambulance that had to show up. The officer of the engine turned around, told the engineer, get on the controls, you go grab a line, you go hook up to the hydrant. We're going to use the hose and knock these kids down and teach them a little lesson and control this riot the best we can before the cops get there. Because sometimes you don't always have police support on this point. But I'll put it to you this way. As long as you got, your head on a swivel and you can see everything that's going on around you and control the situation, you're good. But most of the time, you're not in control of any situations when it comes down to gun violence at a school, at a mall, at a supermarket. No matter where you're at, even at a park. So here's what I say. If anyone's going to get that butthurt over being bullied, simple. You have a mouth. You've been told this several times, even as a little kid. Yeah, I'm being bullied. Okay, if you're being bullied, go to somebody that will listen to you, that will help you out. Even if that teacher's too busy to help you out, guess what? Go call a cop. Cops will come. Cops will help you out. Even if you have to go. No.
No, I know that's easy to say. That it's super easy to say, but somebody in a perfect world, I agree.
I know, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just emphasizing that people or kids, whoever it is that's being bullied, needs to step it up. I mean, no, it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be easy to do it. I know it's hard.
That's not what I'm talking about.
But
I don't think that's what Van's talking about too, because I was bullied a lot, and I did speak up about it. Did not change it. It didn't stop any of that.
I was bullied too as a kid, but I at least stood up and said, "Hey, yo, do something, or else, hey, there's going to be problems." Look at it now, years and later.
It escalated it. It escalated the bullying when I told somebody.
I want to bring something up here. So, I like Aubrey and I seem to agree here that in a perfect world that'd be great. However, the ones who are bullied to the point to where they actually snap and decide, hey, they're going to go do something about it, also have probably a mental health issue. They're not thinking, oh, hey, I could just go talk to somebody and we can work this out. No, they're already not on an even keel.
That's exactly what that was exactly what my paper was about. My paper was already about shooters and why they go and do that. And that has a big factor to do with it. But it also has to do with they didn't get any intervention. They didn't get any help. They got pushed to the point where they just couldn't take it anymore. Either they commit suicide or they harm others.
Yep.
And that is the biggest problem that has to do with gun violence in schools. It's when the kid who gets bullied has just had enough. Not always, but a huge part of that.
You're right.
I agree.
You are right 100% on that. I mean, again, it's just the way society is today. It's just too hell-bent on hurting one another, and people are too busy going, well, I could go and hurt someone's feelings so easily and not have to worry about them because they ain't going to do nothing about it. But it turns out that, okay, little Johnny comes to school next day or little Susie comes to school next day and, somebody got shanked or somebody got shot. Okay.
I sure find it kind of amusing. Well, maybe amusing is the wrong phraseology. Okay, that people sure don't mind getting up into all up in other people's businesses about everything until it's something that actually is worthy of getting into somebody's business about.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree.
Oh, hey, I'll go. Okay, so for instance, I was at a beach one time, perfectly, public access beach all over the place. I was just walking down the beach having a cigarette. This mother of two comes running up to me. It's illegal to be smoking on this beach. I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, okay. And I kind of put my cigarette out. I actually took the time to walk around to see, are there any signs? Because I didn't want to I didn't want to be the one doing anything wrong, right? So I actually looked around for signs that said, like, no smoking on the beach. Couldn't find a single one. So I'm thinking to myself, obviously, okay, this is Class A Karen right here.
Yeah.
So it's okay to get in somebody's business like that. But, hey, if you see some kid walking down the street talking to themselves, talking about, fuck them, I'm going to fucking kill them. Oh, well, then how come nobody calls the cops on that?
Mm-hmm.
Or mentions it to the school. Yeah, I saw one of your students murdering a cat on the field the other day.
Holy crap.
That sort of thing doesn't seem to get brought up. This kid who shot up the school the other day in Texas made comments going back several years to other people that he knew. That this has been brought up now that somebody came forward. Oh yeah, I knew him back in high school. He was killing cats for fun.
That is a huge red flag in sociopathy, by the way, or psychopathy.
Well, yeah,
that is one of the big that's just one of the big red flags that they see is harming and torturing animals, killing and torturing animals.
That is
true. It's a successive thing that happens. You practice on something small, mm-hmm. You move on to bigger prey.
Now, I don't know enough about this shooter that happened a couple days ago. I don't know his backstory. I don't know if he had any bullying. I don't know if anything about. I've not profiled him in any way, so I have no information about any of that. So
right.
But so we've discussed now that bullying is a huge contributing factor, and I agree.
It's a huge contributing factor.
And the guns that they choose to use are definitely effective, and that's unfortunate because it really paints a bad picture for us responsible people who enjoy the sport of target shooting, you know, are believers in the Second Amendment. It really paints us to be the bad guys. So now you want to take away our rights, because it's certainly not going to do anything for the people who have a complete disregard for the law to begin with. So what I'm getting at here is, so when there's a big discussion of we have to do something, well, then let's discuss about the things that we could do. How about we start doing single points of entry in schools, multiple exits. You leave an exit, door shuts, the door locks. This kid went into the school completely unobstructed.
Nothing he didn't get stopped at all. Interesting. Well, I've noticed that in other countries that do not have the same level of gun problems, and that's because they do not have the same level of gun freedom that we have. And that's something that is not discussed or talked about. They go, oh, if you take away our guns, there's not a lot of gun violence in other countries that have
that's not true.
In guns. It is true. It is true. The actual statistics follow that. The studies actually follow this. Scientific data does not lie.
No.
Okay. Do you know what the leading country in violent deaths due to firearms is per capita? I'll bet you don't know. It's Norway. Of course, they only have 6 million people. We have 330 million people.
The gun violence happens every day.
Exactly, gun violence happens every day. It happens in lots of places. Now, as a per capita level for guns that are in circulation, as opposed to gun violence that is perpetrated, we are still pretty low, considering how many guns are out there.
That is true.
Okay, I mean, first off, one of the things that a lot of people don't
talk
about.
You want to talk statistics? There's
hold on. Ben had something he was going to say.
Okay, sorry. All right. Sorry, Ben.
When a lot of people talk about, immigrants that we have coming over the border and, they're looking for salvation for their countries, one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about is why they're coming here. They're not coming here just because they've heard there's a better opportunity, or they like the movies they see on TV and think everything's the same. They're coming here because a lot of times the violence that is happening in their homes is so dramatic and bad that they have no choice but to leave. I remember when I was teaching adult literacy at the local library. I did that for 11 years. I don't need to tell any names or anything, but the story, this one woman had told us that she lived in a city and it was being kind of taken over by a local gang. And one day, like, these two gang members came and knocked on her door and basically said that she needed to pack. She had two daughters. She needed to pack her daughter's things, that they would be picked up tomorrow evening, and that they would be girlfriends of the gang, which basically means they were going to be turned into prostitutes. So she broke the fuck out. She got her and her daughters, and she broke out and did whatever she could. But a lot of these guns that are ending up in South America are coming from the American black market. Mm-hmm. These guns, these people wouldn't be migrating up here. And in fact, a majority of the guns, the black market guns in South America, come from the United States specifically.
That's true.
And these people wouldn't be coming here and trying to come into our country, which is another argument that people have, if their places weren't being decimated by the guns that we're putting out.
So I guess we should reframe that whole, what I just said about that in countries. Usually that tends to be first world countries, not third world countries, that have a lot of those issues.
If you go to Afghanistan or countries like that, better yet, I'll give you a better example. Somalia, Africa.
Those are also not first world countries.
Oh, I know that. But what I'm going to give you an example.
That's why I wanted to give a good reframing of that, is that, I will put that with that.
No, I get that. I get what you're saying. But if you look at these countries like Somalia, Afghanistan, places like that, and I've been to these places, straight up, on the corner, no matter where you're at in that country, in the markets, they sell guns. Mm-hmm. Anybody can buy a gun right there in the markets. And most of the people who are running around in the streets have a weapon.
Dude, when I was
if they have a problem with one another, they take it out on each other not, well, but then again, there's other people that are in the area, and
there's also a lot of other problems like radicalization and everything else
exactly.
Man, what were you gonna say?
When I was in Vietnam, like 17 years ago, it's been so long now. Long before I was even thinking about children or family or anything. But I remember being at a coffee shop with my uncle and one of my cousins, and seeing all these school children walk by, and they were from about, I don't know, probably about 12 or 13 down to about 6 year olds, and like you would see like the girls in the beautiful nice school dresses and stuff, and boys had their little uniform and their machine gun on their shoulder. They were like 10. I was like, what the hell, this is part of their school uniform.
Yep. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, so definitely attitudes are different, but my biggest problem or concern is, and I don't really, whatever our gun laws are, they are, but like I don't understand why we have a problem more so than every other multiple countries stacked together don't have the problems that we have. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not for taking away somebody's rights or anything like that, but at what cost, at what expense, like at what point does your right become more important than my child's right to like fucking walk across the street?
Here's a thing that I think might do well is education, gun safety and education is really imperative. B, making sure that people who have the guns know how to safely secure them from kids' hands, because a lot of gun violence that happens with children is not only in schools, but it's also at home, because the parents are neglectful and leave their guns out or leave them loaded, and because they just don't know any better. A lot of that happens, and the kid finds them, and because they don't know, go and play with them and then shoot each other up
I'm
by
open
accident.
for teaching not
good point.
advocacy,
Very
but
good
gun
point.
training to children as well. Even making it part of a public curriculum. Even if I'm never for advocating that children use guns, but
Right.
it's important to know what these things are and what they do. And just because you see a gun in a cartoon, and your favorite character gets back up, that's not what happens in the real world.
Right.
I'm all about teaching gun safety in school. In fact, I was talking to my son's 13, but we were actually talking about going and taking a gun class out in Vacaville, just because even if I never plan on owning one, it's good to know how to use one, and also how to be safe around one. If your buddy has a gun in the house, you know, if you've taken classes, you should okay, let's not fuck with that. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
I took a military training course just a couple weeks ago, actually, where I shot military level grade weapons and did like a whole thing for that. So it was really interesting. They teach you a lot of gun safety. It's probably the second time I've done something like that. Did shooting range thing, but yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against weapons. Obviously, I fight with swords. I teach sword training. I do a lot of that stuff. I do it as a martial art.
Right.
So I have no problem with weapons. I do have problem with kids who don't feel like they have any other avenue other than to shoot up a school, and that kids can get guns very easily in that respect.
Right.
That's what I have a problem with.
And it's not just kids. It's
It's
not
the
like
irresponsibility.
only kids that are blowing up
Right.
schools. There's a
Right.
lot of goddamn adults that go into schools and start shooting out
Absolutely.
because they know it's going to get media attention.
Also, mental health. Mental health is a huge thing. We also need to make sure that we also take care of mental health issues as well.
Well, I'll put it
Paramount.
to you this way.
Very important.
Back in the day, we're talking like anywhere from the 19, like the 19.
Let them finish.
Anything from the 1930s to like the 1970s. Whether you know it or not, they used to teach how to fire weapons in school. And the reason why they stopped doing it was because somebody back then, in 1970s, Karen, got, butthurt over the fact that, oh, well, my kid's learning how to shoot a gun. Yeah, well, they're being taught how to be responsible with it.
I don't know. I'd have to do research about that. Why those gun laws got changed? I don't know. That sounds a little fallacious to me. That sounds like a fallacious statement.
No, but it is. It's actually that, because I remember when I was a kid watching this on the news. Mind you, I'm 50.
Okay.
So I've seen half of this stuff when I was a kid. So watching, what was going on and hearing, my father, my uncles, and everybody else. Now, mind you, I grew up in a house with, if you are around guns, you don't touch them unless the parents are around and they are supervising you. And also on top of it, we were taught to respect weapons, because, it's not like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, or Elmer Fudd going shooting each other. No, nothing like that at all. We were taught, look, this is what could happen. This is what will happen. Don't touch. You're not old enough to touch this. Fine. Never did that. My thing when I was a kid was, I was either too busy playing with my 12-inch Barbie-sized G.I. Joe dolls, or my Kiss dolls, or, playing Pong or something, and going out and hanging out in the park, or playing army with my buddies and using sticks as what we use as guns, or our own hands, and doing one of these and going pew 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 and whatever. But today, it's just nuts. Even the mention of talking of guns is like, going to get you like red flagged in so many ways that people are, oh, you're talking about guns, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, so, no, we're talking about responsible stuff. Get out of here. If you don't know what we're talking about, sit and listen first before you make judgments. And see, that's the problem, because people stick their nose into a place and make an assumption that you're talking about violence right off the bat, when you're not talking about doing the violence. You're talking about the violence that had happened in a past tense, and then everyone's going, oh, well, you're talking about setting up for violence. No, that's not what we're talking about. And that's the problem with people, because they want to assume too much.
Well, a lot of people do it with the basis of ignorance. They don't actually have the statistics, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the education to understand how things work. This is why research papers are so important. This is why looking at statistics is important. This is why understanding how correlation and causality work, because correlation does not equal causality. It's just a correlation.
Exactly.
So that's why it's important that education matters. And that's why it's good to also look at when you have those arguments. That's why I'm saying it sounds almost like that fallacious argument. If you're like, someone was butthurt, there probably was reasons why they made a stink about it. But because, well, I mean, it goes back to other lawsuits that happened that people deemed fallacious, like the McDonald's coffee thing, for instance.
Oh,
a lot of people think that was a fallacious. A lot of people think it was a fallacious lawsuit. It was not.
Right.
But McDonald's put it out there as it being a fallacious argument so that other people wouldn't follow suit when they did something illegal. You go and look at the evidences of those cases, all the stuff that was put out as reported to be on the cause of the woman who did it, and that McDonald's wasn't in the wrong, and that it was a fallacious lawsuit. All those facts are incorrect. You look at the cases that's actually in the lawsuit. It's really different than how it's been put out in the media. Now it's been put out by all that stuff. So that's why I'm saying, and to say, oh, she was butthurt because she got burned by a little coffee. No, she had third-degree burns.
Burns on her leg.
Yes, over 70% of her body, not just in her lap, but it was horrific.
Yeah.
She had to have skin grafts. She was in pain for the rest of her life. The coffee was almost 200 degrees hot. She was not driving. She was in the parking lot. So it's like there are all these statements of saying, oh, well, she made a big deal out of over nothing. No, it wasn't over nothing. It was actually something that McDonald's had already been told not to do, and they did it. So that's what I'm saying. In your case, I'm not saying that you're not wrong. I'm just saying I would love to go and actually research that so I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And I know that there's probably more to that argument than what people are saying. Like, oh, they were just butthurt. Probably was because there's a lot of violence happening, and people are going, there's a reason. And you know what? Violence has gone down even since I was a kid.
Depends
overall, that violence has gone down. It's more reported. We've come into an age where if something happens, you're going to find out about it 5 minutes later, and that's going to be a huge talking point, and the whole country is going to know about it. And then, something else happens a week later. I'm not saying that killing is by any means. I'm not taking away the horrifying reality of it, but two people get killed a week apart from each other in a really nasty, horrible way. Whether it's a gun, a knife, a broomstick, I don't care. That's 2 people out of 330 million. Now, I know that more violence than that happens, but when you start looking at the actual numbers, they're really small compared to how many people there are here.
People get killed in car accidents more than they do getting shot or stabbed.
Some guy, I've just read this today, some guy down in Santa Ana just ran down several kids with a car.
Right.
And of course it's not getting as much media attention because now, the school shooting. The Waukesha back during Christmas, a guy ran through a Christmas parade with his truck.
Yep.
That actually I did hear about, and that also is not. That's equally not okay. So it's like, what are the causes of these violent acts? What is happening?
It's horrible. But I mean, violent acts are violent acts. It's not the tool or weapon that they implement to use them.
No, it's the why.
It's the people. And when we were talking about the gaming earlier, this is where I'm bringing it up. People should be held accountable, and not necessarily what it is that they use. I mean, if we're going to start, we're going to start holding car manufacturers accountable for how many people get in drunk driving accidents next.
Nope. It should be.
See, I missed the video game conversation, which is what I really wanted to talk about, but that's fine.
I mean, a talking point right now is that people want to be able to sue gun manufacturers if the gun that they manufactured was used in a violent crime or a violent act. I think that's that's preposterous on its face.
I mean, Lady Winchester might disagree with you, but I mean, because she recognized a lot of her guns that were actually manufactured were her fault because they were manufactured and they were used to kill a lot of innocent people. So
yeah, and she had a lot of family guilt for it, and she was also pretty crazy herself. So
okay, that's a little bit of a that's
okay.
Not cool, man. That's going a little bit off the cuff there. That's that is just because you disagree with her opinion does not make her crazy. Anyway,
that was a remark basically aimed at the Winchester Mystery House. Yeah, I mean that was pretty nice.
I'm just saying. I'm saying there are other reasons, not because of that. I'm just saying.
Fair enough. Okay, well I'll leave that one alone.
Don't ignore the argument just because you're saying, well, she's crazy. That is completely. It's
not material.
Right. It's an attack on character fallacy. That's what I mean.
Hold up.
All right, I'll concede that. I'll concede.
Thank you, David.
I run into burning buildings. Is that crazy?
Are you Irish?
Well, I could be called Irish. Yes, I could be.
Not saying you could be. Are you?
Oh
no, that's not crazy. But you know what? I want to bring something up since you just mentioned that. But that's your job. You signed up to do it.
Thank you. Exactly.
So, how about the cops that signed up to do their job and waiting 40 minutes to go into a building where kids were getting executed?
Exactly.
You talking about which one are you talking about? You talking about
the school shooting.
Okay, because I don't know all of it.
So
what I just thought it was Columbine, but I mean Columbine's different because Columbine people were not prepared for that.
Yeah, that's what kicked off the big spotlight on all this to begin with.
Yeah, and I did a lot of research on that, and that was a lot of what my research on that paper was because it happened.
As a first responder, 2
years after that happened.
As a first responder, I'm going to say this: I don't care how much prepared you are for any situation that's going to be that. You're never going to be prepared because you're always going to run into some situation that's always going to change, and situations change at the drop of a hat. I will tell you
I
that
agree.
right now.
I agree.
So, as far
But-
as hold on one
Okay.
second, Dave.
I'm listening.
As far as what you're saying, yes, I agree with totally what you're saying. As far as they should have went in, they should have stopped this person right where they should have. But here's the problem: you also got a lot of factors that you don't know who or how many is in there because it's like
You have to have the intel.
Yeah, it's like walking into combat.
with you
You
for
don't
this.
know how many
Walking
combatants
line.
you're going to be facing
Yeah.
in a
Well,
situation.
For that, I will
especially
understand. Yes.
Especially when you're going into a structure. It's like with us firefighters. When we go to a fire, what's the first thing we do? We have a plan of attack. You know, of course, yes, get the hose line set up, get the engineer doing what he's got to do. The guys that pull the lines and whatnot, we call them tailboarders for a reason. It's because we do all the heavy work. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a plan of attack as to, okay, what are we going in? Are we going in the Alpha, or are we going in the Bravo, Delta, or Charlie side of the building? You're always going in the Alpha because that's the front door. Sometimes you can't go through the Alpha. You have to go through the Bravo or the Charlie side. Sometimes you have to go through the Delta, which is the back side of the building.
Yeah.
So you never know what the situation is going to dictate because sometimes things change at the drop of a hat.
Rockabilly does put up a very that actually brings up a very good point, and that is true. And when I were so I did hazmat safety. I did a hazmat safety training class, did the hazmat safety. They have, so one of the last tests they do, you are put in charge. You know, you have someone who's the lead, and then the foreman, and then who's the second person, and all that. And when I went through, so the first time that someone went through, they actually had people die because they didn't get the intel. They didn't get enough of the intel to actually go in and do the thing right. So when I did, I was like, make sure you get all the intel. And people were like, this is taking too much time. We need to go and rescue that person. It's like, no, let's do our due diligence. Let's get the intel and have a good plan of attack. And if you have an idea, talk to my second, because that person is going to tell me the idea and then we'll figure it out. And then that'll be an execution because you too many people talking at once. It's chaos.
Thank
So
you.
you have to, when you're in those situations, I do agree. You have to first get intel so you can make a plan of attack.
I agree with that too, but let's I mean, going back to the shooting here, there's something I want to bring out as point of reference. So they did know it was a single gunman. He had just crashed his truck just down the block, started taking pop shots at a funeral home, didn't hit anybody yet, spent 12 minutes outside the building before he entered the building unobstructed, went in and was an active shooter. The cops showed up right before he went into the building, and they spent 40 minutes while he was inside actively barricading himself into a full classroom while killing children. Now, I know that, hold on. I know that this is one of those things where what I'm about to say is somebody could easily point out, well, that's easy for you to say. Well, okay, so I know that for me, I would not be able to live with myself if I knew that kids were actively being executed and I did not go in to do that. They're saying that, oh, well, they were waiting for extra backup. Okay, well, a bunch of cops were showing up. What were they doing outside? Why weren't they entering the building? They were too busy handcuffing parents to keep them from going inside, while the parents were pleading with them, go inside and save my child. That seems to me like an extreme dereliction of duty.
Yes. Okay. I don't have all the factors, so I honestly do not know any of the details of
same here
the shooting. So I'm coming off blind because I have no idea what the factors are.
See, I'm almost done with the timeline here, but the fact that they're waiting for more backup, how much backup do they need? Are they waiting for backup so they didn't have to be the ones to go in? It sounded to me like they were scared of getting shot, which is a perfectly reasonable fear. I get it. Nobody wants to go and put themselves directly into harm's way. But how are you going to be able to, be a police officer whose job it is to protect and serve, right? Well, protect those kids. Go in, do something about it. It wasn't even the cops who finished the situation. It was Border Patrol agents who happened to arrive on scene and said, you know what, fuck this, we're going to do something. And they went in and did it. Unfortunately, they had already the guy had already killed 19 children and 2 adults.
So
there was 4 or 5 children who weren't dead yet. They died at the hospital. So if the cops had gone in and done this and taken care of it, how many more may have not have succumbed to their wounds at the hospital as they were rescued instead of bleeding out for 40 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing I didn't even know about the whole situation either. So, but here's my problem with that. Number one, all right, yeah, fine, I understand. Secure the area, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Control the crowd back into a safe area. That's one thing. But nowadays, it's kind of weird the way they do SOPs, because the SOP every now and then gets changed up for, oh, you got to wait for SWAT to show up. Fuck SWAT. Give me the weapon. I'll go in there with my medical equipment. Yeah, I may get shot up, but guess what? I'm at least going in to A, save people's lives, B, take out the gunman, and C, guess what? If I get injured, oh well, there's other medics there that'll help me out as well. So guess what? You're an officer, you got body armor, I don't. If a firefighter's willing to go in and do that, guess what? I think the officer is willing to go in and do that as well.
This guy must have Irish.
Well, they say there's a giant epidemic of gun violence in this country. Personally, my own opinion is there seems to be a bigger epidemic of cowardice.
Yeah.
Okay. I know.
I got a
cringy groan there, but no. I'm not going to say that there's not an issue with violence that is perpetrated with the use of implementing firearms. I'll agree that there is, but I don't think that the guns are the problem. I think that it's issues like we've discussed earlier are mental health and the fact that horrible people will do horrible things, and it doesn't matter if it's guns or a sword or a hammer. There's more people.
It's harder with the sword. It's harder with the sword.
Yeah,
you can kill less people per capita than you can with an AK-47. That's all I'm saying.
Tell that one to Darth Vader. Sorry, I had to go there.
Hey, I could kill a lot of people with the sword, but I'm still going to get taken down by an AK-47 if it's shot at me.
Fair enough.
That is true.
I'm pretty confident. I know I can defend myself purely, and I know that I could probably take down a lot of people with a sword, with a weapon like that. As I said, however, it still does not. Yeah. There are certain situations that you can defend yourself against a gunman. And it could be partially because of cowardice. It could be that they don't actually know how to use a gun. They're afraid. They're looking for an opportunity. They're using it for fear factor. Sure, there's all of that too. But if I'm going up against an AK-47, actively shooting, I'm most likely going to die. Just saying.
You're pretty much going to be a pancake.
Well, he used an AR-15, but then again, all the police officers
automatic, semi-automatic.
All the police officers they have AR-15s in their squad cars too. So yeah, there's that.
Hold on one second, Van. Can you do?
I couldn't see what you did with your hand. Your green screen kind of cut it out.
I know.
What do you?
Like what you're gonna do?
Yes.
Hold on, everybody.
Okay, there it is.
Sorry.
What are you gonna do?
Hold on one second, everybody.
Yes.
Dan, do me a favor. Your earpiece with the microphone, bring that down, because I think your microphone is probably running through that. Say something now.
No, my mic is over here.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not that.
I was just thinking it might have been. Sorry.
Van, what were you gonna say? You were gonna add something to the conversation.
Yes, please do.
I have forgotten. That's just
Sorry.
teenage brain.
It's okay. I have ADHD too. I get it.
I haven't heard from Fours in a while, man. This
Yeah,
guy's been silent
Forrest.
down here, and I want to know what's processing through with all this
Hey,
conversation going.
by the way, how's your ghost? How's your ghost spread?
The dogs have it handled. We're good.
Oh, good. Excellent. As long as you don't bring a gun, anyway.
So, unfortunately, I haven't done all of the research. I haven't done, I haven't read all the news reports. I'm not as knowledgeable about a lot of these things as you guys are. I do have questions, though. I do want to question. I want to ask what you guys believe here in situations like this. So, number one, do you guys believe that we can do better in preparing our defenders mentally, physically? Do you believe that we can do better in training, in preparing them to face these dangers? Number one.
Yes.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
We can, but here's the thing, though. If you backpedal to what I said earlier before, no matter how prepared you can be, you never know what's gonna switch up.
But if you have all the training in place, it's all preparation. As soon as that comes down to it, that helps it. It's just the same thing if you're going through a performance,
I'm just looking
or you're going through.
Right. I'm looking at it from the civilian side of things. I mean, again, I'm a 23-year veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces. Yes, we are trained to go in, knock down whatever is in front of us. Yes, we have a plan of attack. Yes, we are prepared like there's nothing that you can believe. Okay?
But okay.
But you got to remember one thing. There's always going to be something that's going to screw up that plan of attack.
Sure.
Because sometimes you're going to have someone, and I don't care how thoroughly trained you are, sometimes you're going to get that, the butterflies in your stomach.
Sure.
And sometimes you're just not going to know how to react to it because you are just got that doubt in your head. But once you see your teammates going in to do what they're doing, then automatically your training should kick in no matter what. So
that's training for.
I honestly admire people. One of my best friends for a long time actually was studying to be an EMT specifically, and when I looked into that, I just admire people that do it so much.
Mm-hmm.
First off, they get paid way too little. I look at being an EMT as kind of like being a preschool teacher, right?
Agreed.
You're like one of the most important blocks of the whole system, but shit on the most by all the other levels of the profession. Although you are the first responder, right?
Yeah.
And then also the amount of there was an incredible, I can't remember, it was really weird movie, but it was Nicolas Cage. I'm sure you've seen it, Rockabilly. But he was about being an EMT and just the PTSD.
Bring out the dead.
Yeah,
I remember that
PTSD
movie.
He would experience from all of these, calls that he would go on, and kind of bringing his job home with him. But that is a highly underrated job.
Yeah, but if you pay attention to that movie and a lot of the things in that movie that he was doing as an EMT, he was doing narcotics and drinking while he was on the job. And while you're on that job, that is a 100% big bag of no.
Well, I'm sure, yeah.
Absolutely. Plus, there are some cases of serial killers who actually were also EMTs, which is really interesting.
Oh yeah.
A lot of those are really, really interesting. Oh yeah, hero complex is really big. So here's what I was going to say is that you are, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Rockabilly, you are 100% on point. However, there's a caveat. I will say this. Yes, you're going to get butterflies. Yes, but training, and not just go in, beat that up, do this. It's also management. It's figuring, it's psychological management training. It's also understanding how to de-escalate a situation. It's also doing psych evals to make sure that these people are even killed, because part of the problem is that in a lot of cases, when they do psych evals for either the military, for one, sometimes, not all the time, but for one, and two, for the police academy, a lot of times they will not let people in who are too passive, who are too even killed in, because they don't think they will be able to react fast enough in situations. But that is the opposite is true. They are actually the ones that are the best that act under fire. And that's because they understand how psychology works. They understand, they have all that training. They understand how escalation works, the escalation works. They understand all those things, and you need those things, not just go here, kill that, get that, do this, because it doesn't work. Because what you're eventually going to happen is you're going to get more broken people.
Right.
And if you do not have proper
America.
PTSD training, you're not going to understand how PTSD works and how it affects people.
Which, by the way, is the whole argument for defund the police, which is could be a whole separate segment
It's a
by
separate
itself.
segment.
But I know a lot of like people, especially like people on the right wing, they get triggered when they hear defund the police. But it really doesn't mean defund. Well, it does mean defund the police, but it means let the police do the job that the police are supposed to do, and let mental health professionals do the parts of the job that police are now doing that they should not be doing. They should leave it to other people who are trained in these fields. They may be, they may, I guess, escort or for situations.
Yes.
But like I said, that's a whole separate.
I mean, that's why profiling in the FBI is such a huge thing.
Right.
By the way.
Did I hear a so from Force?
So I have a very difficult question.
Go ahead.
Yes. I'm good for these difficult questions. Get fit.
Albert, you're so amazing.
Bring it.
So when you have situations like the one that just happened, or any situation like that, should civilians act if they have the opportunity? Not just the teacher in the room, not just the store clerk, the security on site, somebody in the building who has access to a weapon, and they witness this happening, and they have an opportunity to stop it before it starts. Should that person act?
Yeah,
nuance.
Absolutely.
There's nuance here. Everyone else is saying. So go ahead.
I'm busting in here right now. This is what I'm waiting for, because this is going to happen. This is not a question of when it's gonna. This is going to happen. I'm just trying to figure out when it's gonna happen. But one of these motherfucking outlaws who's carrying around a gun, and I don't care if they're legal, concealed, if it's been blessed by the Pope himself. But one of these motherfuckers are gonna try to stop a crime and end up taking out an entire family by accident, not like, you know what I mean? And then we're gonna have a serious discussion about all these outlaws and all this bullshit talk about arming teachers and fuck all that noise, dude. I did not sign up to be a teacher, to have to learn how to defend them.
Well, here's the funny thing. Some of your teachers are former military personnel that work in the school.
Yeah.
And you would figure some of them would turn around and go, John Rambo time. But to answer your question, Mr. Sounds, and that's what I'm going to call you because I'm not going to say the whole thing. As far as security, when you said security officers that are armed, okay, just to mind you, there are schools that will allow their security officers to be armed, and then there's officers that are not allowed to be armed because it's, again, the training. So that's where that answer comes from. Another thing too, Avery, can I give you Aubrey, sorry.
Okay.
Aubrey, can I give you a hug for all that? Because that's awesome. You're like number one on that one. I love that. Seriously.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not to be creepy or nothing.
I'm just
like
I said, I'm not against people concealing and carrying weapons and stuff like that. But I know one of these times, because I've heard a couple of stories about people who were like, they just happened to be in the right place at the right time. They had a concealed weapon and they saved the day, right? But I know in all of those stories, there's going to be stories tucked away of something that goes just fucking horribly wrong.
Well, yeah,
this is
and
America, damn it.
Well, that's true, and that can also be accounted to human error. I mean,
yes,
I'm not advocating for Batman here. I'm not advocating for vigilanteism. I'm just saying
why not? Sometimes when the breath of justice calls, you have to answer that call for justice.
I am vengeance.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. All right, okay.
Where are those kids? Where are they?
Where are they? I'm sorry, but I can't understand you. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
But no, it's in seriousness. Like, sometimes, God, what was it? And I hate to bring this up, it's so stupid. Like the final episode of Seinfeld, where they witness a crime, but they didn't say anything about it, and they didn't do anything to stop it. They got arrested, right?
Mm-hmm.
That actually sparked a real debate, though, about a good citizen or
good Samaritan. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, and again, this is why I was asking all of your opinion. If a person with the skill and ability has the opportunity to even temporarily de-escalate a situation, should they try?
I have two minds.
Okay.
I'm in two minds of this. One, absolutely.
Here, give Aubrey the screen.
So on one hand, absolutely. I think that anybody who has the ability to stand up, that has the ability to stop a crime as it's occurring or before it's occurring, absolutely, you should step in and do it. You shouldn't go and try to be Rambo. You should try to de-escalate it. You should use what you have learned to try to de-escalate, because the person that's going up and shooting up that building or whatever that they think they're doing, part of it is because they have a weapon and they have already snapped. They've already gone to that point where de-escalation is super crucial. You have to find out what the stressor is. You have to get to those facts, and you have to try to de-escalation before they go and kill somebody. But if they're long gone, absolutely. On the other hand, if you do not know what you're doing and you just run in without thinking about it, that causes a whole bunch of other problems. Right. Don't go and be a hero because you're like, yeah, I'm going to be cool and be Batman. No. Mm-hmm. You want to absolutely, you should have a good understanding about cycle. I mean, I think people that do this, there are people that have a lot of the training, but they also have the temperament. They are people who are even killed thinking people that are able to act cool under pressure. And that's usually people like us, unfortunately, because we tend to, even though we may not be part of the military, like I'm not part of the military, I haven't. But, you have training. It may not be certified training, but you still have all this training, and it allows you to be able to act in a situation. Again, does that mean you should? No, always learn how to assess the situation first. Read the room. Right. That's my 2 cents of it.
Now, how does that work for people who are suffering from the Dunning-Kruger, who think that they know more about themselves than they do?
Well, then I don't have to tell variables. You. That's human error. That's the human error of that. I mean, you don't know how you're going to react in a situation until you do. The only thing that you can do is keep practicing until you get to that point. That's what you do when you perform. That's what you do when you do EMT. That's what you do when you're an athlete. You train. That's what you have to do. Right. In your martial arts. That's a big thing. That's the same with psychology.
That goes back to the whole topic of like, okay, so I was in the military as well. It's not just the training. You get trained to do one thing, but a big part of that training is drill. Mm-hmm. So you do it over and over and over. That way, for when the situation actually does occur, you're not going, okay, now what do I do next? Okay, I've had training on how to do this. I've had training on how to do this. Well, if you've drilled it, then you actually have done that.
Like body reflex.
There's also the thing of being there's also
mental reflex. The body reflex is in the training, the muscle memory, but the mental reflex is in the drilling, is having actively practiced this out many times.
Yes, there's
also.
Go
ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
It's okay. There's also the idea of what a lot of people don't understand, and people in the military do understand it. It's the killing. It's turning on that killing factor, the ability to actually go, okay, this is a situation. I'm going to go in and I'm going to go do the thing. A lot of people don't have that because we've been taught out of it. So it's being able to know this is the situation. This is what has to happen. do I turn on the killing instinct or not?
Dave, can I ask you?
That is so. What it does is it completely overrides the fight or flight to this is a situation. I got to get this shit done. But it again, it just goes to training. It goes to also psychology. It goes to a lot of it. There's a lot of nuances with it.
Aubrey, I want to ask Dave something. Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something. Obviously take it however you want, or you don't have to answer if you're not comfortable or whatever. Your time in the military, have you ever been put in the position where you have tried to kill another human being? Like, were you in
I haven't been.
Situation?
I've been in fights. I've been in lots of fights. I've never been in combat. If that's what you're asking me.
Right. I guess that's the more appropriate question.
No, I've not been. I've not been placed in combat. However, do I feel like I was prepared for combat? Yes, I do feel like I was prepared.
Did they prepare you? I mean, okay. I guess one of the arguments I have, or the complaints I have against the Veterans Administration and stuff like that, is the amount of PTSD that veterans deal with that doesn't get dealt with. And maybe they prepare your body to what do you do if you take a bullet, or maybe they give you training or how to shoot or how to. But do they prepare you for what to do when your best friend is bleeding out of their neck, and like what that does to you mentally? Do they talk about that kind of shit?
Combat. You have
okay, so I want actually, that's a great question. I want to say something that hopefully this helps answer that. I don't think there is anything that can actually train you to be truly prepared for something like that. You're going to deal with that. That's an after the fact situation. So you can be trained and drilled into what your objective is going to be in combat. Now, how you process that afterwards is going to be very much on an individual level. I know some combat veterans who came back really fucked up. I know some combat veterans who came back and had a mindset of like, it was horrible, it sucked, but that's what we needed to do, and are pretty much okay with it.
I think that partially goes to temperament.
And I'll tell you something else.
Yeah, I think temperament has a lot to do with that.
As somebody who works for the funeral home,
go on.
There is shit that I've seen that is, and let me tell you something. I'm the last responder. Everything I see is after the fact. There is shit you're not prepared for. I don't care what. I don't care what destroyed Resident Evil house that you've gone into in the middle of the woods at 2:00 in the morning, and what 3-week-old decomposed body you've been exposed to. There is just some shit that you're not ready for mentally.
Oh, I am sure.
Okay.
I'm sure.
It could be something as simple as, hey, go pick up something from the ME's office and then go process it. Like you have no clue. And there is certainly no training for that.
That's true.
Not to fault my bosses here live on the internet or anything, but like there are things that I'm never going to be able to unsee.
Right. If I saw some kid bones or something like that in your job, I think I would just lose it.
To answer your question, Van, yes, I've been in combat, as in the military. I will tell you this right now. When you're in combat, I'm gonna put it to you this way. A long time ago, there was a movie called SWAT. And
yes.
No.
I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing in a bad way. I'm just saying, yes, I know the movie. I'm just like, yes, I know the movie.
The guy, I forget his name. The guy that played the one guy who comes back to the SWAT team.
Mm-hmm.
When he said specifically, "What's it like in combat?" he actually nailed it on the head. It's fast paced. You just do what you got to do at that moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
However, as a veteran myself, I will tell you, yes, I used to drink. I'm sober 26 years.
Congrats.
Okay. And the best way I deal with everything is talk with another veteran about what the situation's going on, because another veteran's going to understand you.
So talking about it. So you're saying it's talking about it, getting help,
right.
Going and not putting it all in will be the biggest way we can combat PTSD. Is also not stigmatizing people who go through it. That is a huge thing.
If you're going to sit there and you're going to keep it quiet and you're going to be too busy drinking, boozing it up, getting high, getting screwed up, guess what? Not only are you putting yourself in danger, you're putting your team in danger. I don't care what anybody says.
That's like victims who go and perpetrate crimes. I agree with you.
Right.
It's very similar.
But the point is, as long as you go talk with somebody who's been there, that's how you're going to get the help. You got to talk with other people that's been in the same situation, because not only is it you're helping yourself, you're also helping them, because they're also going to voice their opinion. They're also going to voice their experience as well. And in AA, and I will say this, it's called experience, strength, and hope. This way,
hell yeah,
when you put it into that point, you're going to sit there, you're going to have that community that you're involved in that's going to sit there and talk with you. David knows what I'm saying, because I know David point out, said, yeah, that's it. But the thing
9 years clean and serene, brother.
You have to seriously talk with another person that's on that same level. You can't just go to somebody, for instance, like a psychologist. I'm sorry to say this, but psychologists, they're there to get paid $80, $100 each session, and they've never been through the shit.
Right.
They don't understand firsthand. You have to talk to someone that actually knows firsthand what the situation is, no matter whether you're first responder or last responder. Okay? And I'll put it to you this way. There's always going to be something that's going to be mentally there that's going to stick with you for the rest of your life to the day you die.
Well, there's also the survivor's guilt part of that too, as well.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what's involved in that.
And you need people that are empathetic and not people that are just looking at it from a purely data situation orientation. That's exactly right.
I can't talk to my girlfriend about, like, say for instance, I come home from a motor vehicle accident and there was bodies mangled up between, you couldn't tell between the car and the person. Okay.
Oh man, that's rough.
So it's like I can't just come home and just say, yeah, oh, this, that, the third to her, because she's not going to understand. I'm going to talk to somebody that was on the scene, whether it be a cop, another EMT, another firefighter. Okay, because that's the people who's going to be there, that's been at that situation, understands what you're going through, because they're going through it as well. And that's how you get at the root of the problem. Is you talk about it, you work on it, and if you keep it bottled up, like I said, it ends up you get into the drinking, the drugging, the whole 9 yards. And guess what? Like I said before, not only are you hurting yourself, you're also hurting the team. That's
Bottom line, get help for your mental health. It is very important. It is nothing to be ashamed of. Hey guys,
that's why group therapy. That's why group therapy is so effective, because it's shared experience.
Early intervention of bullying, because I actually became friends with one of my bullies through the early intervention. So
you guys
that
are
actually really helped.
But let's let Van kill this.
Sorry.
For over 2 hours.
Yeah, so we are running over our 2 hour mark. It's always incredible. We always have incredible discussions, and we never really end right exactly where we start. But I really think actually it's a good ending on the idea. Starting with guns and ending with mental health. I think there is a strong connection there, and not necessarily a bad way to end the segment. So I think the big takeaway is if you need help, go get help. Do not be ashamed to ask for help. A lot of us have. And this quarantine's really fucked up a lot of us, man. A lot of us who used to think we had our shit together have realized that, sometimes shit is just out of our hands.
Far from it.
Yeah. I hope you guys do another segment on games because I would really like to join you guys for that. I'm sorry I missed
there's
it.
so many things that we can talk about, like different aspects of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This one specifically was about gaming and like violence, or does it cause
behaviors.
See,
yeah.
I was so looking forward to that conversation. As I said, part of my research was on that. I was so ready. It was love to do it again.
Yeah. So, well, just put every week we're always looking for 2 suggestions, so just put them up on the board, especially if you have an idea, if there's something that's going on, specifically in pop culture that people might want to hear about or talk about, or get their feelings out, or hear other people talk about their feelings about, with ideas that may not always be popular.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, this has been a really, really lovely conversation with you
Yeah.
guys.
Well,
I'm so glad I got in.
why don't
Sorry.
we do our
Good.
rounds? We'll start with you.
Sorry.
Miss Aubrey, if you want to let anybody know anything, if you any outros, or if you want them to reach you, this is the time.
Yeah, if you want to find me, I'm on Facebook. I have my Instagram, which is Luthien the Fair. You can look me there. I also have my album on Spotify if you want to go and take a look and listen to it.
Woo! All right, Aubrey. Okay, Mr. Rockabilly.
Oh, as you see, Rockabilly_firefighter at Instagram. Or, well, if you want to find me on Facebook, you know where to find me at Facebook. And what the heck? I don't know. Yeah. It's happened here. I'm like, what? But yeah, no, if you want to follow me, follow me. If you don't want to follow me, that's okay too, But I just suggest this: be safe, be fun, and don't be a douche.
Yeah, that is a good piece of advice, Mr. David.
Well, since everybody's dropping their Instagram and Facebook, I want to say that I'm very publicly private. So, but I really enjoy coming on this show, and it's great to have these discussions. I think this has been the best one I've been involved with so far. Thank you all for being here with us. Hey, are all you guys going to stick around for the after show circle after we shut this down?
I'll leave it open for you guys.
Okay, cool.
I am not really quick because I gotta pee too.
Dan's got important stuff to do. He's got to run.
All right, well, for you guys.
I look forward to the after discussion. All right, and aside from that, anybody who's still watching, hope you see. Hope I'm back here again to do more discussions. I love these. These are great.
Woohoo! All right, Fours.
For those of you in the lightsaber community, I am ForsFX. I do create sounds, sound fonts, sound files for these lovely weapons. You can find my work at forsfx.com. You can also find the work of myself and many, many other talented artists at saberfont.com. A great place to start your sabering would be to go on the Facebook group. It's called the Elite Lightsaber Society. You could also visit the Lightsaber Sanctuary. Also, I've also very, very much enjoyed my time here on the After Dark show, and my friendship with Van is just freaking awesome. And I love all you guys on the screen, and I love all you guys in the comments section. May the Fours forever be with you.
Always. And as for me, I am Arctic Scala with the Kyber Cave. Don't forget to check us out this Sunday. In fact, I will be exiting the show with the really cool intro done by our fabulous director. I do want to thank Miss Marissa, who's always doing stuff in the background. So she is not always given all the love, but she deserves a lot of love for helping us put this together. I want to thank all of you guys for being on tonight. Like I said, you never really know where these conversations are going to go. So it's always fun to see where we end up every Friday night. It's like a roll of the dice.
We're going where no other person has gone before.
Yes, thank you for putting my dear Star Trek, which is very dear to my heart, into this conversation.
Please make sure to check out kybercave.com. We have lots of sabers and lots of other merchandise. And I do want to give a special love out to Say Wong. I also want to thank Say Wong for giving us the check-in from Fanicon in San Jose. He was there. So you missed that at the beginning too, Aubrey. We got a live check-in from a con.
Well, I'll be there tomorrow and Sunday and Monday, hopefully. So
Woohoo! Well,
I did
then
get
maybe we need
tickets.
to do a live check-in with you on Sunday.
Yeah, you'll see me probably dressed up as Sailor Moon. So.
By the way,
So awesome.
by the way,
That is an awesome costume.
before we all leave,
Uh-huh.
I think it's appropriate to say, Van, thank you for having us on the show.
You are an incredible person.
Because if it wasn't for you and other people who sat there and set up this entire thing, none of us would be here BSing with you.
Agreed.
Well, it is a beautiful
Love you, man.
community. And you know, if you can't find your paradise, sometimes you have to create your paradise. So you are all part of the paradise that I had to create for myself.
That is correct. Yes. Very good.
All right, guys. We will see you guys.
That's
we are going to be back this Sunday at 7 p.m. I think we're only like 20 some odd people away from giving away another saber. So if you know anyone that has not subscribed to the channel, please share this out. Let everybody know about this. If they're 18 and over, they can watch Friday nights. If they are, if they are older than I guess a fetus, they can watch Sunday nights. But until Sunday night, we love you very much, and make sure to check out this incredible commercial by Miss Marissa. All right, y'all.
Woo-hoo.
Peace.
Hello there.
Hello.